Hello. My name is Tim Rogers. I am the founder of the interactive electronic object design studio, Action Button Entertainment, and the designer of VIDEOBALL, a sport which will be available on PlayStation 4, Steam, and Xbox One in May of 2016. Yes, that's about 2 months from now. If you will please indulge me for 30 minutes, I would like to engage in a public exhibition of the layman's most cherished of pastimes, talking about sports. I'd like to talk to you today about the perfect sport. My talk will, for its own good, presuppose that we, the human race, need a perfect sport. This hypothesis requires that we will accept, for now, that humans crave competition. That proof of our being better at some task, natural or invented, than at least one other member of our species is as important to the health and safety of our egos as is fear of death. I understand this is a heavy burden to accept without argument. Rather than imagine us friends arguing about this, allow me to invoke the loudest fallacy that ever lived. Billions of sports fans can't be wrong. Humans love sports. They love playing sports. They love watching sports. They love knowing which team or athlete is better than another team or athlete in a particular game or skill. In my opinion, however, the best sports do not yet exist. Unfortunately, this is mainly because our existing sports are floppy playthings for stupid babies, where by stupid babies I mean human bodies whose crude biological matter cannot match the beauty of pure thought. The games that humans play today with their feet and hands and bodies on grass or concrete or ice are old and stupidly, deeply flawed via inane penalties and restrictions which the physical nature of the human body requires. It is the year 2016. We do not yet have a consumer-ready flying car. We do, however, have virtual reality. Our future sports will therefore not involve cyborgs immune to concussion. We will remove the corporeal from our sports. We will translate athletics onto electronics. We will transform electronics into telekinetics. As I can reckon, we need a perfect sport if we are ever to become a post-war cyberpunk dystopia. This sport will not involve humans. It will not involve death or violence. It will take place inside players' minds, and it will project directly into the spectators' minds. The sport of the future is an electronic game. The future sports are electronic games playable by humans of any body type, controlled with the mind, and regulated and officiated upon by the most laser-precise electronic intelligences. These sports are, at present, hypothetical. As recently as December of 2014, some old men were still of the opinion that Dota and League of Legends were the playthings of basement-dwelling Cheeto eaters. On HBO's Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel, a journalist presented a story on Robert Morris University's esports team. In a roundtable after the story, one journalist joked, "These people get paid to play games." In the game's defense, journalist Soledad O'Brien stated facts. 30 million people in the world play League of Legends, she said, and some of the players on this university's team were ranked in the top 300 in the world. I'd think that anyone who spends more than probably 4 hours a day talking about baseball would cherish the availability of a game that was its own scorekeeper and referee with such virtuosity that its players had cold numerical ranks. I'd think he would do the long division in his head and conclude with immediacy that evident in these electronic sports is a player attracting extreme depth. Not so. The old man laughed. "This is an athletic scholarship?" Another asked. "The thumbs get so tired," said. "The thumbs get so tired," said another man. "Future golf players of the world right here," was another joke. Even as a person whose career is in the industry of electronic video games, I cannot dismiss these as merely the dying opinions of tired codgers. Our modern electronic sports are often bloated, strange, audience-frightening spectacles on par with physical sports. Most of them are magnitudes harder to watch than cricket. I can, however, argue with this elderly definition of athletic. I cannot play League of Legends, Dota, or Heroes of the Storm on anything resembling a competitive level, though I deeply respect those who do. My most serious experience with an electronic sport is with my own VIDEOBALL. At EVO in Las Vegas in 2015, I had the honor to play 3-on-3 VIDEOBALL with 2 skilled teammates and 3 skilled opponents. By the end of a 20-point game, my stomach was Hurricane Katrina, figuratively. My brain and heart were Fat Man and Little Boy, respectively. This was me playing a game I had designed in a match that included 2 players who had not played before that weekend. Everyone wanted to win. I tell you, the stress was palpable and nauseating. If I had the slightest motivation, if a monetary reward were on the line, if I'd traveled miles for the purpose of that exact match, if a shrieking crowd had been urging us on, or if one of the opponents had insulted me on Twitter days before the match, the stress level would have shot up to something I'm not sure I can handle, and I have literally run 2 miles in under 10 minutes just once. I love VideoBall, so I'm biased. However, I will say that if VideoBall makes me feel this way, then clearly some psychic skeleton key of an electronic game can be and will be the perfect sport. Sports are sensational, and this sensation need not have any entanglement with physical musculature. I firmly believe that sports are primarily psychological, psychic contests. Our physical human bodies are boring obstacles in comparison to the infinity of psychic obstructions that we, our opponents, and the elements of a game weave and conjure. If I am to embark upon the curious task of explaining to you my peculiar blueprint for a quote-unquote perfect sport, it behooves my ensuing argument to begin by dispensing with the dullest and most elementary requirement. My perfect sport must have no penalties or fouls which upset the flow of or remove players from the game. All due respect to baseball, yes, by my admittedly quite eccentric defining instruments, the game of baseball is 88% penalties. To put it nicely, penalties ruin sports in too many ways to even begin to properly dismantle here today. Before, or probably after, you think I'm being unreasonable, I will mention that penalties are great sometimes because referees can be cool, and because penalties make players or coaches mad, and sometimes that's hilarious. Most of the time, however, penalties are boring. Penalties slow sports down. Penalties make sports harder to watch. More importantly, penalties are the symptom of a game that is over-designed because of the limitations of human biology, architecture, or the very nature of physics on planet Earth. Because these games involve the movement of fragile human bodies, this over-design is wholly necessary. This is because humans are weak. We might hurt each other, so we design rules to disincentivize personally injuring another player. Competition is the gold standard of the currency of human confidence. No one enters a sporting event wanting to lose. This inclines an athlete to zeal. Any attempts so far to implement the honor system into professional sports have failed. And so the no-hurting foul escalates to a no-touching foul. In basketball, should a defender grow too zealous about snatching the ball from a player, they might risk touching the ball carrier's hand, which results in what, in layperson's terms, we could call a touching penalty. Here, the rulemakers must intervene, allowing the touched player a free throw, a chance to shoot 1, 2, or 3 baskets in time-blind silence, facing no stress from defenders. The presentation of a free throw slows the entire basketball contest to a complete stop. This is boring. This is stupid. This is completely necessary. My favorite example of human biology making sports boring is that humans cannot astrally project their will onto a ball as telekinesis. The otherwise wonderful sport of volleyball would wield limitless potential for psychically imprisoning its athletes were it not for the 3 volleys per side rule. In volleyball, 2 teams pass a ball back and forth over a net, aiming to manipulate the other team into letting the ball touch the ground. Humans being weak, of course, we cannot run 100 miles an hour or jump 100 feet into the air, so the ball must land in a specific area. More importantly, players may only hit the ball 3 times per side. The reason for this is simple. As another rule requires that players never cross the net, if one team continues to volley the ball more than 3 times for the duration of their sustained rally, the other team is literally not playing the game. What if volleyball players had guns and could shoot the ball out of the air as fast as they could reload? This would eliminate complex, explanation-necessary fouls and penalties, to be sure, yet would also raise obvious safety concerns, thus requiring even more complex penalties. In VideoBall, players press any button to project triangles at the balls. Only triangles can push balls. Push balls into the opposing team's goal to win. The longer a player holds the button, the bigger the triangle becomes. The bigger the triangle, the harder the push. In VideoBall, any 2 triangles of any size cancel each other when they touch. In VideoBall, any triangle touching any player cancels the player's charge. A triangle impacting a player also pushes the player away. This is not, however, a penalty. The pushing power of a triangle pushes a player faster than they could move otherwise. If a player touches a ball, this also cancels the player's charge. However, this also stops the ball from moving. Moreover, as all triangles are neither explicitly offense nor explicitly defense, touching a triangle never results in anything science could indisputably declare a penalty. You might touch a triangle of your opponent's creation with your player to cancel it and thus stop it from pushing the ball toward the goal. If the ball is moving at a high speed, a player may touch it to stop it from entering the goal. None of these are explicitly penalties by my admittedly curious definition. The game does not ever stop. Stopping a ball with your body in VideoBall is not the same as drawing a foul in basketball. A player receiving a tackle in video ball retains involvement with the tackle. A sport without penalties is the foundational design principle of video ball. No maneuvers are illegal in video ball because no illegal maneuvers are possible. This is possible because it is an electronic game. In making video ball, I realized an ocean of penalty-free sports of this variety exist. I'd like to encourage you all to please make some of them because I would like to play them. What is a perfect sport? Well, no-holds-barred sumo wrestling. But what is the perfect team ball sport? I'm mostly interested in two-team ball sports with 2 or more members per team. Furthermore, one ball is boring. We want a sport with at least 2 balls. I'm sorry I don't have the time required to explain my reasoning here. Just trust me. I've spent literally 20 years thinking about this. You need at least 1 ball more than 1/3 the number of players on the field, or your sport is boring. The perfect sport must not be boring. However, it must be simple. Any human spectator should understand it free of context. It is okay for our sport to confuse a sentient bacterial space alien. There comes a time in every strange man's life when he must get serious, and for me that time is now. My various obsessions require me to disclaim with passion that everything annoys me, especially fun. I want a sport that at least annoys me less than shoelaces do. What if Apple made a sport? What if Muji made a sport? Would this sport have a goalie like soccer or an end zone like American football? Would it have an athletic challenge at the end of the field, such as the elevated hoop in basketball? We cannot answer this question. The bullet point beautiful industrial design, however, was enough for us to start work on video ball. It turns out that simple is far more subjective than perfect. Many team ball sports fit the prehistoric description, get the rock over the line. This describes the offense. The defense's goal is do not let the rock pass the line. Some sports transform the line into an athletic obstacle challenge, translating this rule into put the rock in the hole. The easiest way to discuss my feelings for simple versus team ball sports is to explain how Pong is better than tennis. Imagine a first-time observer of tennis who has never seen rackets, nets, or balls. This observer is a human, however, and thus has seen humans. Go ahead and imagine this observer is a baby who, for some amazing reason, can speak in complete sentences. The baby asks, "What is the goal?" The adult replies, "Get the rock over the line." The baby asks, "Why are they not stopping it with their bodies?" The adult replies, "That is not allowed." The baby asks, "Why is that not allowed?" The adult replies, "The player must use the racket." The baby asks, "Why must the player use the racket?" The adult replies, "The racket is fun." The baby asks, "Why is the racket fun?" The adult replies, "Because that's the game." So, here's my selfish definition of simple rules. If our hypothetical baby has to ask the adult more than 3 why questions per 1 what question, maybe the rules are not simple. By this definition, it is barely possible to make a simple sport. Well, Pong is perfect. Pong is tennis where no illegal maneuvers exist. Neither are any illegal maneuvers possible. The player is a paddle. When the ball touches the paddle, the ball changes direction. The ball cannot go out of bounds. It is impossible for one player to hit the ball more than once per volley. Get the rock over the line. Pong is the absolute simplification of tennis. This is an interesting example of perfection because Pong is not very good. I'm sorry, I just owned Pong. Pong lacks the athletic depth that sports spectators desire. This brings us to our second quality of a perfect sport. Unto simplicity, we must add heroic athletic depth. Sports writers will call a great athlete a genius or a hero. Let's not argue about the definition of a genius or a hero. Let's talk about athleticism. Athleticism is what I call unique, fidgety, physicsy, muscle memorization evading challenges of geometry and timing in a sport or a game. Athleticism means more than stamina, endurance, or strength. I want to extend the word athleticism to the untalkably sublimest of mechanics, the twitch of instinct in a batter's central nervous system as they twist their body and extend their arms and step forward, as the basketball player feels the ball roll off the tips of their fingers. Pong lacks all of this athleticism. The player can affect the angle of the ball via paddle speed, though only in one direction. There's no aftertouch. If you add aftertouch to Pong, you add the tip of the athleticism iceberg. You were close, guys. You were real close. Video ball started with a simple concept. Press a button to fire a projectile. Your projectile pushes the ball. Projectiles also push players. Move to obtain better angles and avoid projectiles. Before you say, that's like Pong meets asteroids, Mom, in asteroids, you don't push the asteroids. Our foundational premises were no penalties, simple rules, and satisfying timings and speeds. In addition, I wanted it to be fumbly, bumbly, bubbly, physicsy, tricksy, and a little bit irritating. So we see simple is not exactly minimal. Free of the constraints of the physical world, we were able to make a ball which was not round if we so chose. Imagine a cross-shaped ball, its weight distribution perfect. Hit it on an end to push it straight. Hit it on a side to push it. Now let's give the ball a core. Hit this thing right in the center of the X to push it extra hard. It'll be spinning as players compete to shoot it. It'll be tricky to hit the core. This will be bumbly as heck. Our players' guns will reload slowly. They will want to make shots count. Our projectile's pushing power will exert its same effect on players. In the interest of symmetry, let's give them little cores in their tailpipes. Shoot the core to send your opponent flying even faster. Now let's add little deflectors to the tips of the crossball. Oh yes, this baby will spin, and these deflectors will weird up other players' attempts to shoot the core. The bumbliness is getting wild. Now let's move the deflectors to the end to make an interesting windmill shape. Unfortunately, that's a swastika. Let's make the balls circles and the projectiles triangles. The point at which the circle tangents the triangle determines the degree and direction of spin on a ball. The player velocity adds to the triangle velocity. The velocity of the triangle adds to the force of the push. The love of triangle against circle is VIDEOBALL's minimal digital facsimile of athleticism. Now we add a charge. Hold the button to make a bigger triangle. The biggest triangle slams the ball at high speeds. This is a risk. Any triangle touching a slammed ball reverses it at the same speed. Our players' minds wrestle with this athleticism network of timings, distances, speeds, angles, and the positions of opponents, teammates, and balls. The e-athlete's trained brain is a hot knife that can cut through the cold butter of this quirky system's ocean-vast possibility space. Now we just need to spend 600 largely sleepless hours tuning and balancing timings, speeds, and forces. The game designer of an electronic sport's primary task is the heavy lifting of tiny numbers. Many real sports have separation of offense and defense. If a player on one team has the ball, that team is on offense. The other team is on defense until the other team scores a point or loses the ball. The defense can induce the offense to lose the ball at the risk of a penalty. Offense can't hold on to the ball forever, of course, because that wouldn't be nice. This is why we have shot clocks in basketball and play clocks in football. Think about it. These world-class spectator sporting events include an absolutely necessary ironclad rule that exists because it wouldn't be nice not to have it. It now occurs to me that I could have just written a 30-minute talk called LOL Shot Clocks. There's some people out there, they get it about the shot clocks. In a sport with separation of offense and defense, players orient their position and decide their occupation at any given moment around the ball carrier. Soccer and basketball are two sports whose original designs call for no strict positions. Positions emerged in these two sports over decades of professional play. Players' roles in a position are flexible, though seldom deviate from agreed-upon paradigms. One thing I noticed after watching literally 1,000 hours of VIDEOBALL playtesting is that anyone who says, "I'll play defense" or "I'll play offense" ends up losing. This makes me confident in VIDEOBALL as a position-fluid game. VIDEOBALL is a team ball sport in the most minimal fashion. Teams can be as small as 2 players. In VIDEOBALL, however, because players never possess, hold, or carry the ball directly, they only control it indirectly from a distance via projectiles, and because our triangles never are explicitly offense or defense, and because we have more than one ball, our players can't possibly decide on just one position for an entire game. Let's try to imagine a real sport that meets all of these ridiculous perfect sport criteria, minus the no penalties one, because that one would be a nightmare. Oh, actually, that was easy. Let's make the ground concrete, 2-ball, dome wall, no goalie, end zone soccer. If the ground is concrete, there's no grass stains, so that makes it even better. But let's make a stupider sport. Let's start with tennis, except instead of being 1-on-1, it's 2-on-2. Sometimes they call this doubles, but in our case, we will have 2 balls instead of 1 ball, so yeah. No, we want 1 ball, actually, more than there are players on each team, so it's 2-on-2, 3-ball tennis. Now let's invite more players, 3-on-3. Now we need 4 balls. Because of the magic 3+2 rule, I unfortunately do not have time to explain. We must increase the number of balls to 5. This sport is pretty stupid already. I love it. 3-on-3, 5-ball tennis. Out of bounds is stupid. There's no out of bounds in this game. We're playing tennis in a plexiglass dome. The net is stupid. Let's not have a net. Let's let players go to whatever side they want to. Instead of having to get the ball across a line, let's make it a large circular target 3 feet wide inside the dome wall. In order to score a point, you have to shoot the tennis ball into the hoop. With your tennis racket, the ball must bounce exactly once. Let's say you can pick balls up with your hands if you want, sure. Let's borrow a rule from the game of handball and from the ancient design document of basketball. Players cannot move while holding a ball. You can pass a ball to your teammate, though if your teammate wants to take a shot, they have to hit the ball out of the air with the tennis racket. If you catch a ball and want to take a shot, you have to perform a serve-style standing shot, and the ball must bounce once. If you take 2 steps while holding a ball in your hand, your team loses the round immediately. You're not allowed to hold more than 1 ball at a time. If you hold 2 balls at once, the referee blows a whistle, your team loses the round. If you touch another player, for any reason, even hugs, your team loses the round. Score 10 points to win a round. I don't know how many rounds there are in a match. Probably more than 1. Let's call it idiot ball. All right, this game should work just fine. Who wants to watch a video of me and my friends playing it? Nobody wanted to play idiot ball with me. I was not able to find 6 people willing to play this game, much less a 50-foot-tall plexiglass dome. However, this game should work, and it should be enthralling fun for the player. But how on earth do we officiate this contest? By eliminating out-of-bounds and offsides, we've created numerous technical penalties, limiting the range of player movement and how many balls a single player can hold. With 5 balls on the field, we need at least 1 referee per ball. We need enough sensors and lasers to win World War III to officiate this monstrosity. Forget officiation, how do we spectate this? Which of the 5 balls, which of the 6 players would a spectator watch? We started out wanting to make the perfect sport. We ended up with something that's weirder than cricket. We ended up with a real-life MOBA. For those of you not familiar with the term, according to Epic Games' website for their new game Paragon, MOBA stands for Game with 5v5, 3 lanes, jungles, minions, towers, and cores. Rule number 5, sports need spectators. Sports without spectators are just weird board games. Spectators, meanwhile, can turn a game... Can turn a game design as weird, huge, and messy as Dota or American football into a genuine cultural event. The perfect sport is easy for the spectator to look at, understand, and read. Legibility is my most passionate concern in game design. I'll be honest, it is for a personal, selfish reason. I am going blind in one eye. As many of you in the back row may have noticed, I wear large glasses. My eyes are bad in such a weird way that I have literally 7 different prescriptions, and the sunglasses are a prescription as well. I'll let you guess which of the 7. My glasses are especially big so that my right eye has extra lens room to maneuver should I be suffering from strain that limits visibility in the center of my vision. I like to brag that a skilled player can look at any screenshot of VIDEOBALL and read the last 3 seconds of game action from the various trails on the game objects. This effect is deliberate. VIDEOBALL looks like what it has to look like. It looks like the skill of its players. Furthermore, everything in VIDEOBALL happens on one screen. VIDEOBALL is legible because all of its information is available all of the time. The best case for information availability in a video sport is Killer Queen. I love Killer Queen. Killer Queen shatters my mind. Killer Queen is the world's best living game design. I could continuously talk about Killer Queen long enough to end up in jail. Killer Queen is a 5-on-5, 2-team, no-ball sport. 4 players on each team are workers. 1 player on each team is the queen. The queen can fly and kill. Workers can jump and collect berries. Workers can spend a berry to upgrade to warriors, who can then kill, but cannot collect berries. You can win 3 ways in Killer Queen. Collect enough berries, kill the opposing team's queen 3 times, or ride the snail at the bottom of the screen into your team's basket. Oh yeah, snail basket. In Killer Queen, either team's progress toward any of these goals is presently visible on the screen at any given instant. In Killer Queen, the entire screen is a moving, living, breathing scoreboard of itself. It is beautiful. Killer Queen is so visible and so readable that spectators instantly become coaches, even first-time spectators. Sometimes these coaches scream. Sometimes they whisper. Should a friend unacquainted with the game watch you play, they might lean over your shoulder and whisper, "Dude, the snail." These whispers fascinate and inspire me. I believe these whispers are the future of sport. Grabjackers is a prototype concept we have worked on at Action Button Entertainment. It's a playground for ideas for what I consider the next level of video sports. It's very rough, but in short, it's Towerfall meets elevator action with MOBA-style diverse characters, Killer Queen-style multiple victory conditions, and lots of spectator whispering. We accomplish this whispering by hiding information.
All right.
I'll explain a little bit. Oh man, is this video making sound?
Yeah, watch.
I'm going to talk over myself. In Grabjackers, two teams of spies compete to either kill each other, get a briefcase back to the base, or convert control of specific map regions. You can run, jump, shoot, and melee attack. We chose the spy theme because it makes sense for most of our players. We want areas in Grabjackers to be one screen and hyper-legible. However, we want to limit the availability of information. To hide information in a game that is devoted to legibility, we've designed numerous mechanics that offer an opportunity to see. So if Killer Queen is a game about looking at itself, Grabjackers is about having had already seized opportunities to see information when it was available. I can only get into the tip of the iceberg here, so I'll summarize two tiny mechanics. Here they are. One is the tunnel doors. Players can hide inside doors in Grabjackers. Once a player is in a door, the player is hidden. We see no outward indication that a player is inside a door. Some doors have arrows on them. A player entering this door can move to the next door down the line in the direction of the arrow. Even the player inside the door cannot see which door they are in, nor do they hear any audio cues. This results in a spectator saying they went in the door on the right on the second floor. Maybe you're carrying the briefcase and thus moving slowly. Maybe you want to avoid the second floor since which door the player will pop out of constitutes a risk. Our game is heavy. Turning around, it takes possibly 1 moment too long. Another mechanic which I'm quite proud of is the disappearing mine. This is a special weapon. Each character has a special weapon, and this is one type of them. If a player has a disappearing mine, you'll see it on their back. If they place the mine, the entire game freeze frames for an instant, allowing all players on the field the time to memorize its location. Then, after an obnoxious beeping sound, the mine vanishes. Anyone to walk over its location, friend or foe, dies instantly. In our playtests, the whispers are intense. We've taken what sounds on paper like a party game and turned it into a public library where people scream sometimes. With mechanics such as the invisible mine and Grabjackers, I envision a bright future of video sports where 5 players, each of them a coach of their own self, handle the controls, and a team of 5 coaches per player monitor information opportunities and whisper into microphones. And thus, our future's perfect sports games wherein spectators can be coaches and coaches can be players who play the game literally without ever touching the controller. And the audience watching at home has the opportunity to see and understand everything, which is very important to me. In closing, I believe in sports. I believe in game design. I believe in video games. I believe in football. I sincerely feel the best is ahead of us. I wonder how VideoBall is going to sell. We're flirting with the notion of not selling it as a video game per se. We'd like to sell it as a sport, but you can't sell a sport. Playing a sport requires people, and for the purchase price of VideoBall, we're only selling a game. We're not selling people. In order to sell the people, we need a strong online community. So a designer doesn't make a sport, the players make sports. So I think it's best to say that we're going to sell VideoBall as a digital sporting good. This is a stupid concept that I have, but hear me out on it. Buying VideoBall is like buying a baseball. You could take it to the stadium and use it in the World Series, or you can pitch it around the yard. Buying VideoBall is like buying a ping pong table. Everybody loves ping pong. Some people are very good at it. If we sell VideoBall as a sport, I'll know all the YouTube commenters criticizing the indie graphics are scientifically wrong. You wouldn't say a tennis ball has indie graphics, would you? This puts us in a weird marketing position. VideoBall is not a window into a fictional world. We made this game as an artifact of the present day. This is something I could talk about for hours. It's an artifact of the present day, real physical world. It's part of the real world. The characters in VideoBall are the players. If you want a new costume for your VideoBall player, buy a new shirt. Better yet, buy an official VideoBall sweatshirt from me. Come on up and get one. I'll cut you a deal. Does anybody want one right now? This guy in the front row. Which color you want? Now just take this one. PayPal $50 to tim108@gmail.com. VideoBall launches this May for PlayStation 4, Steam, and Xbox One. It has online, cross-platform, 3-on-3 team matchmaking. And guess what? It works. Oh, God, it works. It was working a couple hours ago. so I'm going to go home after this. It has no Batmobile DLC. It has no hats. I love it very much. It is the best thing I have ever worked on. I will be proud of it forever. If it sells enough, maybe I'll be here next year to tell you how good that feels. If it doesn't, well, anybody in this room right now is invited to come play it at my house anytime.